10 mistakes new organic gardeners make. The dream of harvesting your first sun-warmed tomato or a handful of crisp sugar snap peas is what leads most people into the rewarding world of organic gardening. It is a journey toward health and sustainability and a deeper connection with the earth. However, the transition from buying produce at the store to growing it yourself often comes with a steep learning curve. Nature is a complex system, and beginners frequently find themselves fighting against it rather than working with it. If you are just starting out, it is perfectly normal to feel a bit overwhelmed by the wealth of information available. The good news is that most failures in the garden are actually just hidden lessons. By identifying the most common pitfalls early on, you can save yourself a lot of frustration and wasted resources. Here are the 10 most frequent mistakes new organic gardeners make and how you can avoid them to ensure your garden thrives. Neglecting the foundation of soil health. Many new gardeners treat soil like it is simply dirt that holds plants upright. In reality, soil is a living, breathing ecosystem. One of the biggest mistakes is jumping straight into planting without understanding what is happening beneath the surface. Organic gardening is essentially soil farming. If you take care of the soil, the plants will take care of themselves. Beginners often skip the crucial step of testing their soil. Without knowing the pH levels or nutrient content, you might be adding amendments that your garden does not actually need. For instance, adding too much wood ash can make your soil too alkaline for most vegetables, while overusing certain organic fertilizers can lead to nutrient runoff. Another common error is excessive tilling. While it feels productive to turn over the earth and create a smooth planting bed, frequent tilling actually destroys the soil structure and kills beneficial fungi and earthworms. Instead of digging deep every year, try the no-dig method. This involves layering organic matter on top of the soil and letting the natural decomposers do the work for you. This preserves the delicate fungal networks that help your plants absorb water and minerals. Choosing the wrong location. You might have a beautiful corner of your yard that looks perfect for a garden bed. But if it does not meet the basic needs of your plants, it will fail. Sun is the primary energy source for your vegetables. Most fruiting crops like peppers and cucumbers require at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight. New gardeners often underestimate the shadows cast by trees or buildings during different times of the day or across different seasons. Beyond sunlight, drainage is a critical factor. Planting in a low spot where water collects after a rainstorm is a recipe for root rot. Organic gardening relies on healthy root systems, and roots need oxygen just as much as they need water. If the soil stays soggy, the plants will suffocate. Accessibility is also a factor that people overlook. If your garden is tucked away in a far corner of the property, you are less likely to visit it daily. Small problems like a few aphids or a dry patch of soil can quickly turn into disasters if they are not spotted early. Put your garden somewhere you will see it every morning when you drink your coffee. Overwatering and underwatering. Finding the balance with water is one of the hardest skills to master. Many beginners believe that if a little water is good, then a lot of water must be better. Overwatering is actually more common than underwatering among enthusiastic new gardeners. When you keep the soil constantly saturated, you exclude air and encourage fungal diseases. On the flip side, shallow watering is equally problematic. If you just give the surface a quick sprinkle every day, the roots will stay near the surface where the the moisture is located. This makes the plants incredibly vulnerable to heat waves because the top inch of soil dries out quickly. Right? The goal should be deep and infrequent watering. You want to soak the ground so that moisture reaches deep into the earth, encouraging the roots to grow downward. A great way to check is the finger test. Stick your finger 2 inches into the soil. If it feels moist, you can wait another day. If it is dry, it is time to water. Always aim the water at the base of the plant rather than spraying the leaves, because wet foliage is an invitation for mildew and blight. Planting too much too soon. It is easy to get carried away when looking at seed catalogs in late winter. The colorful photos of heirloom tomatoes and exotic melons make everything seem possible. However, many new gardeners start way too many plants for the space and time they actually have available. A large garden requires a significant amount of maintenance, including weeding and harvesting and pest management. If you start with 20 different types of vegetables, you might find yourself overwhelmed by mid-July. It is much better to have a small and highly successful garden than a large and neglected one. Start with 3 or 4 of your favorite vegetables. Learn their habits and their specific needs and their common pests. Once you feel confident with those, you can expand your garden size and variety in the following year. This incremental approach builds your skills without burning you out, ignoring the local climate and seasonality. Just because a plant is for sale at a big box store does not mean it is the right time to plant it in your specific area. New gardeners often rush to put warm weather crops like tomatoes and basil in the ground the moment the first warm weekend of spring arrives. If the soil is still cold or if there is a late frost, those plants will either die or become permanently stunted. Understanding your hardiness zone and your average first and last frost dates is essential. Plants have specific temperature ranges where they thrive. For example, spinach and radishes love the cool weather of early spring and will bolt or turn bitter as soon as the heat hits. Conversely, peppers will sit and pout without growing at all if the nighttime temperatures are consistently below 50 degrees. Research what grows well in your specific region. Talk to neighbors who garden or visit a local nursery. They can give you insights that a general gardening book might miss, such as which varieties are resistant to the specific pests or diseases common in your part of the world. Forgetting to mulch. In a natural forest or meadow, you rarely see bare soil. Nature always tries to cover itself with leaf litter or grasses. Many new gardeners keep their soil bare because they think it looks cleaner, but this is a major mistake in an organic system. Bare soil is exposed to the elements. The sun bakes it and turns it into a hard crust while the wind and rain erode the topsoil. Mulching is one of the most effective ways to maintain a healthy garden environment. A thick layer of straw or shredded leaves or wood chips acts as the blanket for the soil. Mulch serves several purposes. It suppresses weeds by blocking the sunlight they need to germinate. It retains moisture by reducing evaporation, which means you have to water less often. It also regulates soil temperature, keeping roots cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter. As organic mulch breaks down, it also adds valuable nutrients back into the earth. If you skip mulch, you are making your job as a gardener much harder than it needs to be. Mismanaging pests and diseases. In a conventional garden, the first instinct when seeing a bug is to reach for a chemical spray. In an organic garden, we have to think differently. A common mistake for beginners is panicking at the first sign of an insect and using organic pesticides too aggressively. Even organic sprays like neem oil or insecticidal soap can kill beneficial insects like ladybugs and bees. The goal of an organic garden is not to eliminate every single bug, but to create a balanced ecosystem where predatory insects keep the pests in check. Another mistake is failing to identify the bug before acting. Not every crawling thing is an enemy. Many insects are actually on your side. If you see a weird larva, it might be a baby ladybug which eats hundreds of aphids a day. Prevention is also key. Many diseases can be avoided by providing proper spacing between plants for airflow and by rotating your crops each year so that soil-borne pathogens do not build up. If you do encounter a problem, try the least invasive method first, such as picking the bugs off by hand or using a strong stream of water to knock them off the plants. Crowding the plants. When you are putting tiny seedlings into the ground, it is hard to imagine how large they will eventually become. Beginners often plant things too close together because they want to maximize their harvest or because they think a full garden looks better. Crowding is a recipe for disaster. When plants are jammed together, they compete for the same nutrients and water. This stresses the plants and makes them more susceptible to pests. More importantly, crowding prevents air from circulating around the foliage. This creates a humid microclimate that is the perfect breeding ground for fungal diseases like powdery mildew. Always follow the spacing recommendations on the seed packet. It might look like there is a lot of empty space early in the season, but you will be thankful for it when your squash plants are 6 feet wide in August. If you really want to fill the gaps, use that space for mulch or for quick-growing crops like radishes that will be harvested before the main plants need the room. Neglecting to feed the soil. During the season, a lot of people think that if they add compost at the beginning of the year, they are done with fertilization. While a good base of compost is vital, many heavy-feeding plants like tomatoes and corn and broccoli will use up the available nutrients quickly. Organic fertilizers work differently than synthetic ones. They usually need time to break down and become available to the plants. A common mistake is waiting until the plant looks yellow or stunted before adding more nutrients. By then, the plant is already stressed and its yield will be affected. Side dressing your plants with a little extra compost or a balanced organic fertilizer halfway through the season can make a huge difference. You can also use liquid feeds like compost tea or seaweed extract for a quicker boost. Remember that you are feeding the soil microbes, which in turn feed your plants. Consistent and gentle nourishment is much better than one heavy application. Lack of patience and observation. The final and perhaps most common mistake is expecting instant results and failing to spend time simply observing the garden. Gardening is a slow process that follows the rhythm of the seasons. You cannot rush a tomato into ripening, and you cannot force a seed to sprout faster than it is meant to. Beginners often get discouraged when things do not go perfectly right away. They might give up after one bad season or one pest infestation. However, the best gardeners are those who stay curious. Spending 10 minutes every day walking through your garden can tell you everything you need to know. Look at the underside of the leaves. Notice which plants are thriving and which ones are struggling. Watch the way the light moves and where the bees congregate. This habit of observation allows you to catch problems while they are still small and manageable. It also helps you develop an intuition for what your garden needs. Organic gardening is a lifelong learning process. Every mistake you make is an opportunity to understand the natural world a little bit better. If you avoid these 10 common pitfalls, you will be well on your way to a productive and beautiful garden that works in harmony with nature rather than against it. Would you like me to generate a planting calendar based on your specific region?